Hey, what's up everyone, this is Sokka, and today I'm going to go over my Deathgazer build incomplete from level 1 all the way to level 76. But before I do that, so you guys don't have to watch this video or whatnot, I'm doing a giveaway. And the giveaway that I'm going to be doing is the trial belt. But I'm also going to be giving away a few other items. But in short, all you have to do is in the comment section, in quotations, just write the trial so that I can distinguish it from anything else that you guys write. Be it good or bad, whatever. Leave your comment, all good. And the way that it's going to happen is I'm going to tally up everyone's name, put it into a little hat, and just have my two lovely little chinchillas pick them out. And depending on how many people there are, I'm going to give away a lot of prizes. First place will get a combination random weapon. I have 5 weapons here that I'm randomly going to attach to the winner's items. And the way that I'm doing this is first place will get the trial belt, second place will get my lovely little catalyst here that has the Deathgazer railgun on it with a random weapon, and then third place, fourth place, and fifth place will just get a random weapon attached to it. Like I said, all you gotta do is write the trial and you have a chance of getting this lovely trial belt. Alright, so with that said, let me just put all this stuff away real quick. All right, the way this build works and the way that you can just do massive amounts of damage is, here's my Gates of Fate tree. First off, I can tell you honestly, you can finish this tree around level 60. So by the time you hit level 60-ish, you can do all endgame content. You can do 217, 218, 219. You can do the Untainted runs, everything like that. However, most chances are you are not gonna have like the gear that I have, which is this unique item that allows me to use Deathgazer without having a bow or a pistol, which is perfectly fine. You can still run this build, but you would use a pistol instead of a melee weapon, which is either a dagger or a sword. And what would end up happening is you'd have to substitute Warpath with something else. I recommend Dust Shroud, but use whatever you're liking. That said, let's go back to the Gates of Fate. The way that I build this out from level 1, first off, let's set up our Gates of Fate here. We got the green tree going downward, and then we have Merciless Lethality right here on the second, and on the third one we have the Blessed Silver. So the way that I do this is that I build downward to here, I ignore this, come up all the way to here, and I grab this node and I ignore this. So this will take you about between level 14 and 16 roughly. Then after that, you're going to come up through here, you're going to build to here, then you're going to go right and build all the way to Sacrifice of Flesh. You should be relatively around level 32 at this point. Now this will allow you to easily go through story mode no problem, and you should have no issues finishing the endgame boss. Just know that in your Deathgazer, what you're going to want to have as your skills, once this skill hits 32, you're going to want to just have this setup, which is Protein Aim and Shrapnel Trail. The reason for that is it does massive damage. Extreme damage, especially in story mode. I mean, I think I had my average damage no more than 700-800, and I was one-shotting things. It was ridiculous. But then you're finished with story mode, and now you're going to be doing more endgame content where you're finishing, expeditions and whatnot. So what do you build into? Well, you come down here and you build this section first, and you want to get more critical damage. And the reason why I say that is Slow Learner for Deathgazer is a guaranteed crit. The way that I factored everything out for this skill is that as you're charging per stage, it increases your crit chance. I go to the maximum or near maximum, which is around 4 stages, and I literally get a crit every single time. And the way that I gauge it is it's between 20 and 25% per stage, and since I'm doing 4 stages, that's generally 100%. And if you look at my stats, I have no weapon critical chance, and I focus on critical damage, but I don't focus here. I focus on the skill and I look at this area right here. But with slow learner and one simple shot increases your critical damage on your skill. That's why I get it, and it increases it a lot. Slow learner just guarantees that crit all the time. Shrapnel trail, just OP. Protein aim basically expands your area of coverage instead of collapsing it. And then inflexible blast just increases your weapon damage. If I didn't have it, my weapon damage gets cut in half, but that's the reason why I use it. Now, there's one byproduct of this, and that is you can't use the skill until its maximal stage is reached, but that's okay, because as long as you have over 50% attack speed, you're going to get there pretty easy, and it's worth it. Just the damage output is insane. So Livermore's setup is going to be this way, which is generational grief, and then you grab all health nodes and you grab the threat, and you do that for each one of them. If you want to know how to get additional skills, make sure you have Interact Laboratory done, which allows you to create 2 additional skills, or I shouldn't say you, it allows Demetra over here to create them. And what you're going to have to do is the first skill, you're going to have to level it to 10, and it's going to cost you 2,000 primordial affinity to duplicate. And then when you get it to the second one, you got to level it to 40, and it's going to cost you 20,000 to get it to a third one. So that's that, and that's easy. Generally, the way that you want to have your gear for this setup, I built into lightning, and there's a reason why I built into lightning is because one of the nodes that attaches to this build is sparking dart, and that helps with devices or lightning skills. And since the skill tag modifier on Deathgazer is device, projectile, and attack, it affects it. By default, it's a lightning skill, but it's also a device skill, which means that sparking dart is going to amplify the damage no matter what. So when you use the skill, you can see it kind of diminishes, but it's very minimal and it comes back right away. But that's why I build into that, and that's why I grabbed the little lightning nodes on the side. When you're first building this out and you're reaching level 60, don't worry about the extra nodes that I have here. You would just build into it till you can get it, and you build over here till you can get statistic transferal. Later on, as you develop, you can come back in and then you can, reassign, and then you can get more damage. But in the beginning, you're going to want to come up here, 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 and then you're just going to come over here. You're just going to want to get those skills. I would recommend getting Disallowing Vessel last, only because if you don't have this setup here, you're not going to be able to use Warpath, and you're going to move extremely slow. The one reason I love Warpath is because it allows me to move through the level relatively quickly, but it does not diminish my Disallowing Vessel. When you use regular movement, you can see that it diminishes it. However, when I'm using my Warpath, it doesn't diminish it. In fact, it actually helps regen it. So that's one of the byproducts of Warpath. And this is how I have my Warpath set up. This is how I have Infinity Blades set up. In Infinity Blades, you shouldn't care how it is. The only thing you need is Quantic Charge and Material Sinkhole. Quantic Charge gives you a buff. Material Sinkhole gives you a debuff on mobs. So what ends up happening is you hit the mob with Infinity Blades and you debuff them. Then you just charge and GG. They take a lot of damage. Now, one cool thing that Infinity Blades does is it has a very good synergy effect with residual energy. And what happens is when you use a spell, it attaches that spell's damage to your weapon. Now, because this is statistic damage, normally what would end up happening is you would get stasis, you would get stasis damage applied to your weapon. However, in my instance, that doesn't happen because my lightning damage is so high. In order for the stasis damage to affect it, or Aether, it would need to overpower my lightning damage so that it would have an ailment chance. That doesn't happen here, and as you can see, it goes up, but so does my lightning. So I'm always dealing lightning damage no matter what. Infinity Blades just literally compounds my damage, and it just makes it more and more and more, which is really nice. Sometimes you will notice that you will get a double proc here. That happens very seldom, but when it does happen, it really does increase your output damage. And like I said, every time you use a spell, you get a 15% boost to your attack type skills, and Deathgazer is an attack skill along with projectile and damage. So very good synergy, works really well. That's that in a nutshell. You're done, GG. This build is extremely powerful. I know you guys are gonna like it. When you're level 60, you will finish this build, but you're not gonna have this section here. You won't have this section here, and you're not gonna have this section, but that's fine, because as you level up at your own accord, you can, you know, put in nodes to where you want, but it's just going to increase your damage more and more and more. The beauty about this build is no cooldown, don't have to worry about crit chance, and all you do is throw everything into toughness. So that's it. GG. Game over. This is the most OP build in the game. I'm not going to lie right now. I'm going to show you guys a quick little run here, just so you can see that the damage is very OP. Now granted, yes, I do have, my character is tweaked, so please forgive. You may not be hitting as hard as I am, but that's fine. You will get there eventually. This is a nice one because it has that that healing one, those healing tunes. But yeah, like these guys, they can be a pain in the butt, but you just get in and you, boom, one shot. And as you can see, those were all crit hits, and I have no crit chance. I mean, my crit chance is horrible. Slow learner is just very, very useful. It's a nice skill that's just OP. It hits extremely hard, and you can, yeah. I refer to this build as my one-shot build, but it's not there yet because I need to level up a little bit. It will get to the point where I can one-shot pretty much anything, not a problem. And I auto-attacked him for a reason, because I wanted to show you the effect of Infinity Blades there. Infinity Blades deals a massive debuff that allows you to deal massive damage. So one of the funny things is you'll cast your attack, and then to build up your rage again, you know, you just attack the mob. You can just regularly attack them, auto attacks. Your damage becomes insane. You just deal so much damage. It's fun. And you'll understand what I'm talking about the minute you start playing this build and you start doing things that you're just going to wonder, like, why the hell did I hit so hard? And it's kind of hard to explain to someone who hasn't played the build, but once you do, then you'll be like, oh, okay, I got it. But here, let's go find another boss. And then the one thing you're going to love doing is you're just going to love hunting down bosses that are extremely high in damage, because you're going to love the fact that you can literally almost one-shot them. All right, let this Untainted come out. Is it going to come out? There we go. All right, so here he is. One cool thing is I'm going to get him next to my minions or my summons, because I want them to pull him away from me. And they should be able to. I think they're just dealing with other things. Yeah, that's all right. All right, let's just kill. Yeah, I took care of both of them with one shot. See how lovely that is? That's nice. That is the OPness of this build. It's fun, man. The more you play it, the more you're just gonna run around killing things, because it is what it is. But all right, let's go to the last guy. Let's get him over with. Let's just kill this. Why not? Oh, I hate that dude. I remember back in the day before they nerfed him, he was such a pain in the ass to kill. Now it's like a joke. Alright, there he is. Let's get some max charges. And boom. at that. One shot. Well, he jumped, so there's nothing I can do about that. Let's just get him here. And he should be dead. Yep, there it is. Gotta love it. Alright, so what was my actual damage? What was my max crit? Let's see what we got here. Any? No, that's Lightbearer and Tear of Ethel. Yeah, alright. But there you go. I did almost a 7 mil crit, which is not bad. You will get high ones. I think the highest I've ever gotten was like close to 20. But that's because I timed it with like green globes and I did some other shit. Plus my tune was a lot higher. It was on another tune that was close to 90. But there you go. I mean, that's the damage. Everything is nice. That's the build in itself. It works very, very well. But like I said, what you're going to try to shoot for is to have a melee weapon with a catalyst. If you can't get the unique chest, that's perfectly fine. You want to shoot for one of these weapons to potentially drop a status that's going to be on the weapon that gives you the option to use a skill with it. And the example would have been like, you know, one of these. Yeah, like you see how this weapon here allows the bearer to use Lightbringer. Well, every time you complete these Untainted runs, they at the end drop gear that potentially can give you an ailment status or whatnot, which is how I have that catalyst that you guys saw in the beginning that I'm going to be giving away. I got it from one of these chests. And to be honest, I'm not going to lie, I have other gear that has those, that allows me to use the Deathgazer, but it's like a great sword and it's kind of crappy. You don't want to use that kind of stuff because it takes away from you using Liver Mortis. You need to have the catalyst if you want to run Liver Mortis. If you don't want to run Liver Mortis, that's perfectly fine. Run dual pistols for all I care. But like I said, you're gonna pizza when you're French frying. You're not gonna have a good time. But yeah, the build is nice. It's very sweet. It deals massive amounts of damage, man. And even like I said, at low levels, you're gonna be doing crazy stuff. So I hope this was informative. I hope you like it. Just so you know, the way that I'm gonna finish this build out is I'm gonna build down through here. And then most chances are I'm going to come down through here for some more HP to get this other critical damage node, but there is really not much else you can do. I mean, yeah, if you feel like you're taking too much damage, you can come down here and get this Dire Junction node. I mean, you don't really have to. As you can see, you can run things pretty easy with 3 Liver Mortis out, and you can just recast them over. So, in my opinion, this is a waste. I also came over here to try and do extra stasis damage, but I will mention, because in the actual build there's an ability to hit 100% stasis chance. I came to find out that it wasn't worth it, because you have to remove something from this tree that I have set up, and it gets rid of the synergy effect that it is working. And what ends up happening is you would think that maybe that extra stasis damage just gets it really compounds and it adds a lot. Back in the day, yes, when this skill did double damage, oh, it was freaking OP as hell. But now that it only does like 10 to 15%, nah, it's not worth it. Another thing to mention, it's also not worth doing ailments. I've tried. You're not really stacking ailments because you're doing so much damage with one shot that the way you should focus is one element, which is why I have lightning damage. It just works out. Another option that I've done is I've come down through here to grab the extra attack damage here, and while it is beneficial, this is really just more total endgame stuff. When you are at the point where you just have extra skill points and you have no idea what to put them in, then yeah, this might be a little bit prudent if you want to just increase your damage. But like I said, even right now I'm at 102. That's only because I got one statistic on there. Normally it's around 96. Yeah, this is overkill. Once you hit that 30,000 mark, it's going to be overkill even more. I should say that's when it starts, not more. The other thing I've even done is gone over here for the sacred damage. It's nice, but no need. You're going to be one-shotting things, especially early on. So with that said, have fun building this thing out if you want. Ideally, level 60, you're going to have this bottom section here. You'll have this top section here. You just will not have this, or this, but then you build how you want. You just go into whatever you want to do, experiment, have fun, you know. Listen, I've done everything. I've even gone over here for the Oracle of the Trinity, trying to, you know, add extra damage that way. You do what you want to do. Just understand this. You do not need to develop any kind of crit chance whatsoever, okay? You don't have to. As long as you have slow learner and you do that max charge, you're going to crit. So with that said, hope you enjoy the build. Any questions, leave me a comment. But also don't forget about the contest. I want to give this stuff away. So take care. As always, be safe and choose.